Hi
Let's talk
everyone, my name is
astrology with
Emilius and
Amy.
welcome back to my channel on Let's Talk Astrology with Emmy. So today I bring you a different topic, so an interesting topic. The thing is, this channel you're going to enjoy a lot of things. Like I'm bringing you a lot of astrology stuffs, so a lot of astrology analysis, from synastry to everything you need to know. So today I bring a different topic, which is about spirituality, because a client of mine told me that, Amy, how can I know if I have spiritual gifts or spiritual abilities? So I'm like, okay, let me make a video on this, on how to know if you have a spiritual gift or spiritual ability based on your natal chart. So today I'll be talking about astrology aspect or placement in natal chart that shows that a person has good spiritual gifts or abilities. So here's the thing: when we talk about spiritual gifts, two planets comes into picture, and the two planets that comes into picture is Neptune and Jupiter. Yeah. So apart from Neptune and Jupiter, we can also talk about K2, which is more about the Vedic aspect, known as the South Node. So Jupiter and Neptune plays an important role because Jupiter indicates the teacher, so it's also the significator for 9th and 12th house. So Jupiter is also the knowledge parser, the wisdom, indicates wisdom. So and Neptune is the main spirituality because it governs the 12th house, which is solely focused on spirituality. Jupiter is about religion and also can take you far to the spiritual life and all that. So how do you know if you have spiritual gift? How do a person know if they have spiritual gift? Now here's the thing, we all have a spiritual gift within us. We all have certain spiritual levels of a level of spiritual gifts. We don't have that. It doesn't matter how it is, but every one of us has a certain level of spiritual abilities. But the thing is that some people may recognize this early, while some people may recognize this late. Yeah, some people may recognize their spiritual gift early on time, like during the early stage of their life, while some people may recognize their spiritual gifts during the later stages of their life. Yeah, so people that tend to recognize their spiritual gifts early in life, these people, they tend to become something great. They tend to become aware of their own self, like they tend to foresee what's coming. Yeah, they tend to foresee what's coming. They tend to have a great awareness of themselves. Yeah, so why people who recognize this thing at the early stage, who recognize their spiritual gifts at the later stage, they tend to struggle, in connecting with, their spiritual awareness, like us connecting with their spiritual gifts. So these are the kind of people in which, because I've met couples of people like these, I'll speak to couples of people like this, who struggle with their spiritual gifts or spiritual abilities or not recognizing it. These are people in which, when you talk about astrology stuff or spiritual matters with them, they tend to struggle with it, or they are a fan, but they kind of like find it difficult to, make sense of it, because some people find it easy to study astrology. Why some people find it difficult to study astrology? Some people find it easy to learn tarot, to learn, to find themselves in certain spiritual practice, that connect to, understand people on a deeper level. While some people struggle in that areas. So today I'll be sharing some aspects of placement, that helps you to know that I can indicate in that chart that this person, that you or certain person has spiritual gift. And one thing I want you to take note of that is that when it comes to spiritual gifts or spiritual skills like that, one major planet that is capable of causing obstructions to one's spiritual gifts, in recognizing one's spiritual gifts or talent, is Saturn. So Saturn, in most cases, I've seen in most cases, create obstructions in a person recognizing their spiritual gifts or talent during the early stages of their life. So you need to take note of that. So see where Saturn is placed in your chart to understand that. Well, now let's go to the topic itself. Now, the first thing is this: we need to look at the Jupiter placement in a person's chart, because Jupiter represents is the significator of the ninth and 12th house, and Jupiter is the planet of wisdom, knowledge. Yeah, think about it. Jupiter carries a lot of things, because Jupiter is the planet of abundance. Yeah, Jupiter is the planet of abundance, so it carries a lot of things, especially when it comes to matter related to faith, religion, spirituality. Things that has to do with things that has to do with divine. Yeah, Jupiter rules the divine, rules something related, things related to the divine. So that's exactly the thing. So now, what Jupiter placement or aspects it's important to look at. Now, the placement or aspect to look at in Jupiter is Jupiter in first, fifth, eighth, ninth, or 12th house. Yeah, it's important to look at for this aspect. I mean, to this for this placement. Yeah, this placement of Jupiter in first, fifth, eighth, ninth, and 12th house. So Jupiter in first house, it's more or less like a guru person, like a teacher by nature. Like these people, they really want to have a knowledge of a lot of things. They want to be in position where they can provide insight, provide knowledge, guide people. Yeah, and they can find themselves in any, maybe religion wise, spirituality wise. So they are able to gather good spiritual knowledge or good spiritual wisdom to themselves and able to guide others. So this is exactly the effect of Jupiter in first house for spiritual gifts. So Jupiter in fifth house shows a person, because the fifth house is about hobbies, it's about creativity. So when a person has Jupiter in fifth house, it means that these people find passion, they find joy, in involving in things, in involving in creative pursuits or pursuits related to spiritual matters or spiritual things. So it can be a person who like diving into astrology, or who find studying astrology as a thing, or some people who read the scriptures. Yeah, some people just find passion reading the scriptures, the Bible, the Quran, things like that. So just to gain more higher wisdom about their self, about what they involve with. Or some people just want to, and it just goes beyond that. They may also find joy in reading other things. Maybe a person who has Jupiter in fifth house may also show interest in reading other religious books, or anything related to that. So this is exactly the thing. So Jupiter in fifth house gives one creative skills related to spiritual. Like these people are able to they can become writers. Yeah, writers of scriptures or writers of things related to religious stuff. Yeah, they can make great writers related to that. So now the next one is Jupiter is in 8th house. When you have Jupiter in 8th house, it's just this. This is what Jupiter in 8th house brings to you. Jupiter in 8th house makes you more like, makes you become like deep, want to deep, get yourself, deep into, gaining higher knowledge. Like this are the kind of people in which, they want to dig deep into knowing something. And they go all out to know that thing. And they are kind of people in which they have their own ideology about what they want to know. These are the kind of people in which they when they learn something, when they're trying to know something, they kind of like, go deep, intense into get all the things they want to get, do all the things they want to do. Like they become more of the control of the knowledge. They become more of the control of they become more possession, because the 8th house is about how would I put it, collection of things. Yeah, collection of stuffs, collecting other people's stuff. That's exactly, that's the 8th house. Now these people want to become the possessor of knowledge. The possessor, they just want to get every knowledge to themselves, like know everything. So that's exactly Jupiter in 8th house. So it's a placement in which it makes certain people, most people, people with this placement, they become aware of what they know, and they have control over what they know. So this exactly the thing about Jupiter in 8th house. So it's a very intense placement for people who have this placement, and then these are the kind of people who dig deep, Or they can become astrologers, psychics. I mean, they can find themselves in different things, learning different things, all for curiosity. They are very, very curious people in nature who want to dig deep into understanding all different kind of things. Yeah, anything that involves spirituality, they are pointing for it, and they are very, very curious people to a great extent. Now, another one is Jupiter in ninth house. Jupiter in ninth house are people who are, or who also possess, good spiritual gifts and good spiritual talent. Yeah, based on this kind of people in which their own spiritual gifts lies in their kind of like faith system. These are more like the people who can become priests, who dedicate themselves in priest matters, serving God, or maybe in a temple. These are people who are dedicating themselves into temple works and all that, offering spiritual support, offering spiritual help. The pastors, the imam. Yeah, these exactly the indications of Jupiter in ninth house. So someone has Jupiter in ninth house, the person can make a great priest, pastor, imam, or someone who works in the temple, offer support, help people, provide spiritual support, kind of thing like that in the temple or in an organization related to spiritual, render spiritual support and all that. So that's it for Jupiter in ninth house. Now, Jupiter in 12th house. Now, having Jupiter in 12th house is kind of a big deal here, because here the 12th house here, it becomes expanded due to Jupiter. Having Jupiter in 12th house makes a person become more of a, I would have going to put it like you feel the intense, like you feel the 12th house in you. Like these people become so much of a giver. These people become so much of a knowledge giver. Like everything they know, they are willing to share with others in abundance. Because the 12th house is about sacrifice, the 12th house is about giving. So people who have Jupiter in 12th house, they tend to possess high spiritual abilities that they are willing to share with others. Let others tap from it. Yeah, let others tap from it. They possess great spiritual abilities that they can really connect with anything in the divine. These are the kind of people in which when they sleep, they can connect with God, with angels, and everything. There was a time in which I kind of like after meet this client, and she was telling me like she used to dream about God, angels, and when I look at her chart, I saw Jupiter in 12th, and I was like, this is it. So Jupiter in 12th are like that. Like they tend to like feel like they're always with God every time. Like their presence is always right there with God. So this is the indication of Jupiter in 12th house. And these people, they tend to experience this kind of spiritual protections, spiritual guidance in their life. Like it's like God is always protecting them. Like if they find themselves in a very dangerous situations, they're always getting the divine help, a kind of divine help. Somehow it just happened. So this exactly for the Jupiter, placement in all the houses. I mean, in first, 5th, 8th, 9th, and 12th house. So in my next video, I'll be talking more about, the Jupiter, aspect on Moon, Sun, Ketu, known as the South Node, and Rahu, known as the North Node, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So I'll be talking about how Jupiter aspect on this planet, influence a person, because these people also possess great spiritual gifts. They possess great spiritual gifts. So until next time, in which until another time, I'll bring you more videos on this. I'll do more videos on this, and also please remember to subscribe and like and share my videos, because you can't wait because I'll be bringing in a lot of interesting videos to you regarding astrology, regarding a lot of things you want to know. And also by next week, or maybe later this week, I'll also be talking about the Venus aspects of placement based on love life. So you can't wait. I know you can't wait for that. So see you till next time, same time on my channel. See you till next time. Bye. Thanks for watching. I'm yours, Emilio. So thank you.
Like, share, subscribe.